In the new season of The Traitors, we currently have an all-female traitor crew. And you know what? I'm here for it. I feel like in the past seasons, it's been a very male-dominated traitor crew. Even when there was more women than men, it was still very much male-dominated, male-centered. So personally, I'm here for it. I think interestingly enough, I feel like this year, I would say the overwhelming majority of people were like, yeah, I would be happy to be a traitor. Whereas, season one, season two, it seemed to just be like a very select few people that were very adamant that they wanted to be a traitor. But I think after seeing two seasons, I feel like people feel like they would rather be in the know than play a guessing game. And I think I'm of that opinion as well. I would rather be a traitor and kind of know my fate rather than be playing a guessing game. So our three starting traitors are Armani, Linda, and Mina. And right off the bat, Linda is the weakest traitor. And she is probably going to be the first traitor banished, I highly suspect. After the ceremony to pick the traitors happened and the blindfolds were lifted, Claudia gives this speech and she's just like, traitors, addressing the traitors in the room with everybody, right? Linda literally snaps her head and snaps her head as if somebody's called your name, and she gets clocked. She gets clocked by Jake. Now, Jake actually does confront her on this, and she basically says, oh, I was just listening to the conversation anyhow. But Jake is not letting this go, and she is just overall a very suspicious person. Even, it wasn't even just that look in the round table. She was also kind of fidgeting her face, twitching her face. She wasn't completely comfortable, and you could see her body language. She also is, very fake in her animations in terms of her reactions. Like, oh, this? I didn't know that. What did you say? Oh, I agree with that theory. Oh, this and this and this. It comes across very Karen-like, and I think people are very much clocking onto her. So I think it's very much a matter of time before Linda gets eliminated. But I think it might be interesting to see if she tries to throw someone else under the bus to save herself before she gets banished. I think if she does, she's probably going to go for Armani. Which leads me on to Armani. She's got quite a strong personality, but she is a chatty patty. She talks a lot, and I feel like she talks too much. And I feel like she's definitely talked herself into suspicion. Also, in the first episode, she was just looking very shifty, very hot, very overwhelmed. She's in the interview with Claudia. She's talking about, yeah, I could even murder my sister, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be the best traitor, blah, blah, blah. But she was definitely, shivering in her timbers when she got picked. And even her sister picked up on basically her change of behavior. But I think after the first roundtable, she got a bit more comfortable, and I think a bit too comfortable. And now it seems that her name is in a lot of people's mouths, and I fear that if they all come together for a witch hunt, they're gonna get her. I think instinctively people might think that she needs to calm down and she's doing too much and she needs to reduce. But I feel like when people come into the show with a big personality and then suspicion falls on them and they start to get quiet, people then will now use that against them. So I feel like maybe tone it down a little bit, but I feel like she still needs to be outspoken. But what I feel like she needs to hold back from is saying, oh, I personally think that you're a faithful. I personally think that you're a faithful. Because for me, if I was a faithful and I'm hearing people declare people to be traitors and, people to be like, you're a faithful, I'm going to be suspicious. I'm going to be suspicious of that because I'm going to assume that you may be a traitor trying to get brownie points by being a good. I think Armani could be in danger. I think potentially she could save herself and maybe talk herself into the final, but it would be talking herself into the final. I think her strategy is she needs to survive a round table. There's going to be one round table where basically a lot of people come for her and she just needs to hold her own. I think a good example of this was Phaedra Parks. In the American version, there was one round table where, she convinced, people were still suspicious about her and they eventually got her. But for a good 3 round tables, just her mouth was saving her. So personally, if I was Amani, I think obviously I'm going to be fighting for myself at the round table, but I think she should be like, you know what, you guys are always trying to start up a witch hunt. Look what you did with so and so. You said that she was a traitor. You guys all came for her, made up all of these reasons, and she was a faithful. That's what you guys are going to do to me, blah blah blah. I'm not going to allow it, blah blah blah. I feel like that needs to be her angle. She needs to do what other traitors have done successfully and argue herself out of suspicion. And personally, I think to win the game, you have to come under suspicion once. You need to fight for your life at the round table once. Very rarely has anyone that's won the show had a very smooth sailing journey. So yeah, to conclude, I think Amani could be at risk, but she could save herself. But she needs to definitely devise a different strategy. She needs to stop talking to everybody all the time. And then last and not least, we have Mina, who by far is the strongest traitor. And I think someone to watch in this competition. She's playing a very smart game and she has not come under any suspicion. She's fairly quiet, but she does make her voice known at the round table. So no one can really come for her for, being a wallflower. And she's also making a point not to make any major waves with her accusations. And most importantly, she's keeping her accusations to the round table. Personally, as a faithful right now, I would not suspect her. I would think that she was a faithful. So I think it's very interesting. So I'm very interested to see where this journey takes Mina. I think she's very smart. She's playing things very safe now, but I think in the future, she definitely could perhaps plot against her fellow traitors. I don't think she will directly throw anyone under the bus, but I think she would definitely go with a vote to vote out one of her fellow traitors. Perhaps give a reason or two at a round table where it's kind of like a guaranteed boot out to secure herself some credibility. And I think she could do this without messing up her traitor allowance. I think if she threw Amani under the bus and Amani got booted out, Linda would still probably trust Mina. And vice versa, if, Mina threw Linda under the bus, I think Amani would probably still want to work with her and not plot against her straight away. What I think is quite interesting about the last episode is that Linda basically kind of warned Amani that people were speaking about her, but Mina didn't back Linda to emphasize that Amani, lots of people are speaking about you. And I feel like Mina is basically, her strategy is letting Amani dig her own grave. I think the only downfall that I could foresee of Mina at this moment would be her other traitors turning on her, especially in the early stages where people are grasping at straws. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the traitors pick this season. But yeah, do let me know what you guys think about the first traitors draft pick for the latest season.